Welcome to Critical Moves. This is Joe, and I'm filling in for Big Al. Today, we are looking at the ongoing torment at the heart of Creative Assembly's Total War Warhammer 3. And we're going to check out some promising news of some new RTS games being developed by renowned studios. So, let's do this. Let's get in. Okay, our main story number one is Total War Warhammer 3 has a crisis. Big surprise. And luckily for us, there's going to be some consequences. Creative Assembly has finally come out and admitted what we've all thought. They've got problems. Their AI armies have been stalling out because recruitment logic was ignoring unit caps, which has caused all kinds of failed actions, frozen stances, passive enemies sitting idle while we, the player, steamrolled the map. Pooled resource factions like Lizardmen and Tomb Kings were the most affected by these problems because of their economic models, and the result was campaigns that stopped functioning and strategic challenges that were useless after round 30. The studio announced a hotfix that they're testing, and they split it from a larger patch to try to get it out there faster. There's some reports that internal builds have showed that Lizardmen are doing fine, Tomb Kings are doing okay, but then around turn 25, they're having problems again. Beastmen are having problems, which tells you that the problem could be even bigger than they want to let on. The technical diagnosis is useful, but the real issue is priorities, because this should have never happened. We should not have had to give public pressure to get so strong to force their hand. Total War Warhammer 3 has been dealing with campaign AI problems since the dawn of time. And while Creative Assembly has talked repeatedly about how they're going to finally start listening to the community and finally communicate and management is on it, no, they're not. Legend of Total War, one of the most visible community voices and a creator who built his channel on Total War content, told his audience he's gone. He stepped away. He's going to take up knitting videos. You can nitpick how harsh he's being, or you can argue about whether he's even helping, but seriously, people, after a year of promises about better process, the studio acted like feedback didn't matter until the backlash became impossible to ignore. And here we're supposed to accept another apology, and they give us a technical explanation that doesn't quite address why testing and triage failed us so badly, that they had broken AI out in live servers for months. The community response has hit Creative Assembly right in the financials. Total War Warhammer 3's recent Steam reviews have shifted to overwhelmingly negative, and Tides of Torment, the next major DLC that was supposed to launch soon, has been delayed again as a direct consequence of the mess they created. Creative Assembly is, to their credit, pulling resources to fix the AI instead of shipping out their DLC, which, again, to their credit, is the right call. But it does confirm that they're being reactive instead of proactive. The bigger question now is, what does this mean for the big December announcements about the future of Total War? The studio has been teasing their big roadmap update, and the community has been expecting and speculating and brainstorming what's going to happen. So, if the December announcement still pretends everything is fine and tries to sell optimism without addressing the failures that has led to this crisis, trust may not come back. If you still play Total War, be cold about it. Implement the hotfix when it releases, run a campaign to turn 50 with pooled resource neighbors, and if you still see idle stacks and broken budgeting, keep your wallet closed when the next DLC releases, because nothing is going to change without a financial response that they cannot ignore. Crate Entertainment is creating an RTS set in the Grim Dawn universe. and the project represents a significant strategic bet for a studio that has built its reputation on action RPGs. The studio was founded in 2008 by developers who worked on Titan Quest. They have sustained themselves on Grim Dawn, an action RPG that's quite popular that launched in 2016, and it has made its bones on being real good, okay? The studio remains small, self-funded, and remote, which positions them outside the risk-averse calculations that have pushed larger publishers away from RTS. Founder and director Arthur Bruno confirmed the project is in development but still a long way off, but we here at Critical Moves are excited nonetheless. They are building their own proprietary engine specifically for the RTS that will later be adapted for their next ARPG, which has been informally referenced as Grim Dawn 2. The RTS will feature playable factions drawn from Grim Dawn lore, with the setting taking place before the apocalypse that defines the ARPG's world. And the upcoming Grim Dawn expansion is intended to flesh out one of these civilizations and serve as a narrative bridge into the RTS. Bruno has been candid about the technical and design challenges that the project faces, and his background does add some weight to those claims. He worked as a tester of Age of Empires 2 and was a top-tier player, and he's emphasized that RTS design is unforgiving. Timing, unit, pathing, turn rates, building placement, and control responsiveness are all so important they can make or break the experience for those playing it. And because the genre involves so many interacting systems, one variable that is a little off can ruin the feel of the entire game. The proprietary engine is being built to handle unit scaling, army management, and netcode reliability, and create small size means they can't afford to chase blockbuster sales targets. Bruno has said they only need to sell around 1 million copies to make an acceptable return, which frees them up to build an RTS true to their taste without chasing live service models or massive audience scale. The studio is explicitly targeting single-player and co-op viability alongside competitive modes, with Bruno noting that many modern RTS failures stem from over-focus on competitive modes at the expense of campaign depth. What a relief. Crate has confirmed the game will include secure online multiplayer, and Bruno has pointed to overlap between RTS and ARPG player bases as part of the rationale for the project, citing community data that suggests shared interest in optimization, build theory, and strategic problem solving. The studio views the current RTS market as a niche opportunity. Larger publishers have abandoned the genre because return expectations are too high relative to perceived risk. But smaller developers can step into this gap and serve an underserved audience without needing to justify tens of millions in sales to shareholders. The project remains unannounced in its full scope, and we have no firm release date, but the fact that a credible studio with a track record of long-term support is committing to an RTS signals there's still room in the market for games that respect the genre's complexity and don't try to sand off the edges that make it interesting. We at Critical Moves will be watching this game with excitement. Alright, main story number 3. World's Edge is developing new RTS titles in Unreal Engine 5. Confirmed through LinkedIn profiles. What a world we live in, people. What a world. Build engineers have been working on unannounced projects since 2023. Dennis Crowley, a principal build engineer who joined the studio in 2023, lists developing AAA pipeline support for unannounced titles using Unreal Engine 5 on his profile, and recent job postings for senior Unreal engineers reinforce that the studio is ramping up production on something technically ambitious. The shift to Unreal Engine 5 is significant because the Age of Empires franchise has historically used custom or licensed engines, and the move suggests World's Edge is building something that benefits from Unreal 5. Age of Empires 4 released in October 2021 after 4 years of development. Early concept work on the next project could have started in 2022 or even 2023, and within 4 or 5 years of development, they could hit an announcement in 2027 for the franchise's 30th anniversary with a release in 2028 or 2029. Community discussion around the LinkedIn findings raises valid skepticism about whether this is Age of Empires 5 specifically or something else. Microsoft also owns Rise of Nations. There's speculation this could be a full remake or sequel in that franchise instead of Age of Empires 5. And the timing of recent job listings for Unreal engineers suggests full production may only be ramping up now instead of having been underway for 4 years, so our timeline could be off a little bit. The nature of Age of Empires 4's recent DLC output adds context. The last couple of releases have been variant civs instead of full new civs and campaigns, which could signal that the studio is pivoting some of its resources towards the next project. That's a pretty standard pattern when a studio transitions from active support of a live game to pre-production and production on the next entry, and it suggests that World's Edge is balancing their obligations while still trying to gain and push some of that momentum to whatever this mystery Unreal Engine 5 game. The 30th anniversary angle is compelling because Microsoft has historically used milestone anniversaries for major franchise announcement, and 2027 marks 3 decades since the original Age of Empires launched in 1997. So I don't know about you, but I'm convinced. If it is Age of Empires 5, the big questions are scope, setting, and whether they're going to address some of the criticisms that have followed them. If it's Rise of Nations or something else, could be an even bigger opportunity because Rise of Nations has been dormant for over a decade, and a modern remake with contemporary production values could carve out space in the market that Age of Empires 4 just does not fill. Either way, the fact that World's Edge is jumping into cutting edge tech signals that Microsoft still sees value in the genre. Hopefully, they won't abandon it. Heroes of Might and Magic Olden era has been delayed to 2026, but a free demo was made available on October 9th with 4 factions and 3 single-player modes: Classic, Single Hero, and Arena. The demo is available through the Steam Next Fest starting today, and it's your chance to test whether the combat, rhythm, initiative flow, and exploration to reward cadence still feels like Heroes without relying on nostalgia. Publishing is through Hooded Horse with Unfrozen developing and Ubisoft holding the intellectual property. And the deal buys them some time to nail the pacing. Heroes of Might and Magic likes are sensitive to turn friction and map design because a good scenario teaches you to count moves, plan threat density along routes, and decide when to skip a fight because the reward just does not justify the cost. If the demo shows clean decision points every few tiles with readable tooltips and meaningful consequences, then a little delay is fine, really. If it feels like a sampler tray with soft fights and empty exploration, a longer wait just means that they've got a lot more cooking to do. Tempest Rising is resetting ranked leaderboards and matchmaking rank ratings today at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central European. All player ratings reset to the default 1500. Leaderboards will be emptied and not preserved, so take pictures with your phones, people. But player statistics will remain visible on profile pages. There will be brief server maintenance 30 minutes prior, and a minor update will add the ability to view previous rank stats on your profile. If you're playing ranked, expect your old rating to display temporarily until the complete 1 match per faction in game mode to update to the current value. Last but not least, Steam Next Fest, everybody's favorite demo time, runs from today through Sunday, October 20th. Menace, the turn-based tactics game from Battle Brothers developers, is getting a significant update today with new operations, equipment, including light walker mechs and autocannons, and a fresh mission pool. So if you tested it a couple weeks back, there's new content to go check out. Go play some demos, everybody. Test what works, what breaks, and come tell us. Say in our videos, come to our Discord. Let us know what you're liking out there, everybody. Okay? We'll have some more Next Fest content coming soon. Alright, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future strategy game content. News is every Monday, and podcasts happen every Friday. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.